All of you who know Leslie Barney and myself will notice that I'm going first, otherwise I might not get some airtime. But as you know, my name is Gareth. I originally started this program whilst I was doing independent HR work. Subsequent to that, I joined the staff at St. Stithians College, and I've been with them now for about 9 months as their HR manager. So I'm going to just go through the presentation with you. Leslie Barney will introduce himself when he talks a little bit later. This is just one picture of Olifantsfontein Primary, which is situated in Midrand, in Olifantsfontein. And this is just one of the pictures just to give you an aerial view of where it is. Those of you who were obviously in the COP with us would have been there and would have seen it. And we were in quite the fortunate position where Olifantsfontein is a fairly resourced school, and many of the challenges that we faced were quite unique to our school in terms of the resources and infrastructure that exists at Olifantsfontein Primary. So just for me personally, the reason how I managed to become a partner on this program was I just happened to start following Louise van Ryan on Twitter, and one thing led to another, and I was very interested to hear Tudi Mansele, who spoke last year, and I went to her presentation, and her kind of insight into Partners for Possibility really motivated me to become part of the program. And just for me personally, I mean, I've learnt a lot from Leslie Barney, both from a personal level and also from a professional level. We've had many debates and discussions about the role of education in South Africa. We've also had many time to reflect on a lot of the different ways of approaching education and how that should be done. We've also had lots of discussions about politics and community, and it's really been great for us to partner together over the last period. As a person, again, a lot of you know Leslie Barney. He has a larger-than-life personality. He's incredibly driven, incredibly ambitious, and I think for me that's been something that I've really aspired to and I've learned a lot from. Stubborn at times in terms of some of the things that we've needed to address and to talk about, but that's also been something that I've learned from in terms of actually creating a safe space for us to discuss and to talk about things. Leslie Barney is an incredibly proud person, and he takes incredible pride not only in himself but in his work and in his school, and I think that's something that I've really looked up to, and something that I know that for myself in terms of the work that I've been doing would like to really show in how I approach things and how I do things. So that, from me to you, for that I really thank you. For me personally, on the professional side, last year I also was through the process of becoming a coach, accredited coach. And the one thing that all the training programs on Partners for Possibility have showed me, really challenged the way that I approach coaching and approach facilitating. I've learned a lot of new ways to do that through, in particular, contracting and recontracting, the power of approaching conflict and dealing with conflict. I've always hated conflict. I've always hated dealing with that type of situation, and I've been just on a work level, and even in some of our conversations, I've had to really man up and approach some of the issues that faced us. Through our COPs, just the power of peer mentoring has really been something that I've learned a lot from. Just on a personal level, a lot of my assumptions and stereotypes have been challenged. I was very fortunate that I went to a very privileged school when I grew up, and just being exposed to many of the schools through this program has really made me appreciate and be grateful for the opportunities that I've been given. In our coaching arrangement as well, I think originally when I came in, I had an agenda of what I thought needed to be done and what needed to come out of this partnership. And really over the last year, I've learned how to drop that agenda and also just question myself in terms of what are my needs. And do they actually align with what the school needs, and then also with what Leslie Barney needs? And that's been something that I've really had to learn to look at. In terms of what I'm taking away from this, I've said to Dina at the beginning of our coaching relationship that I had a passion for education, and I know that this was just going to be the start. And since this program, I've obviously joined the staff at St. Stithians, which is obviously a private school, but I do know that my role within education is going to continue. I'm not quite sure what that will be, but I know that this has just been the start to that specific journey. And the one other thing that I took out of in particular, just with regards to community work, is challenging and questioning what role can I play within a restorative community in particular, and that's something that I'm kind of searching for at the moment. Just some of the training that really had a big impact on me, obviously the Nancy Klein approach, in particular with male-to-male conditioning, that came up a lot during that approach in terms of just my set of lenses and how I view things. As I said, about managing, embracing diversity as a facilitator and also a coach. And change management is obviously a big word in HR, and we talk about it a lot on a professional level, but I think I've just really had time to look at change management about pace and the pace of change management, and that's something that's really been something that I've had to reflect and learn on. From the community engagement workshop in particular, just the impact in terms of questions being more powerful than answers, and just consulting with the various stakeholders and the different paces and the different types of conversations that one needs to have with the various different stakeholders in that relation. Some of the challenges that we faced as a school, firstly for staff matters, there were a lot of issues with regards to new members being integrated onto our SMT team, in particular with our senior leadership team. We had quite a few diversity and cultural awareness programs implemented, and also conversations and discussions. Predominantly, our pupils are from black communities, and our staff has got a very high percentage of particularly Afrikaans female staff on board who are doing the teaching, and we've had a look at that in terms of how that's impacting the learners within the schools. School matters. Lesibane has a very good relationship with the SGB, but that we found has been quite strained over the last couple of months. So we've had a lot of conversations and unpacking as to why that's happened and also how to address that and fix that going forward. And then from a pupil matters perspective, just dealing with discipline in the class. So this is a slide just giving you some information in terms of what we did together and also some of the projects that we would be continuing. We are the first to admit that there's still a lot of work that needs to be done. And we've really been in a position where we've been able to talk about these things and, impact and make one or two changes, but we do know that this is just the start of the process and a lot of work is still needed to be done.
I'll try to be as quick as possible for the sake of time, and I think you are going to be outdone in as far as time management is concerned. And I'm going to try to not run the risk of repeating what Gareth has just said, but to mention that our relationship will go very much far even after this cycle. I had to ask a question when I joined the school. You need to be aware that every school is located into its local authority, that is a municipality. The rare thing that I witnessed when I joined the school was when my school was situated in the wrong municipality. We are just close to Ekurhuleni Metro, but our school was in Tshwane South. And out of curiosity and in search of anything to quench my thirst for knowledge, I had to ask the question, why? The reasons were not hard to find. 90% of my staff members came from the northern suburban areas of Pretoria, while the school was situated in the eastern part of Ekurhuleni. For me, that was a mismatch. And for me to be able to sort that out, I need to start thinking of social cohesion. Because really, you can't divorce yourself from what is happening in your community. And that did not take long for us to relocate from Tshwane South into Ekurhuleni North. And in the process of doing that, we brought my 90% white staff members close to black communities. It was a challenge though, but we succeeded in doing that. So things that I'm mentioning now, I succeeded because Gareth came very much handy with his corporate experiences. I come from public, he comes from private. And the association between me and Gareth assisted me more than I assisted him in terms of this working relationship. And we also have to embark upon the programs of democratic values and societal principles in order for us to be able to do that. Now that's how you had Gareth talking about our school being a little bit different from other schools in terms of challenges. But again, we have gone further, myself, with Gareth, insofar as the relationships between the stakeholders, especially the SGB. A lot of schools complain about the relationship between them and the governance. But because he came very much handy with his skills of coaching in the private sector, I've been able to cement those relationships with the SGB and other stakeholders. Thank you very much.